Tong.
Right, welcome everybody to this Audit and Risk. Oh, it's not working still. Audit and Risk Subcommittee meeting for the 23rd of September. Are there any apologies? No. Confirmation of the agenda, any additions? Conflicts, anybody got any conflicts they want to declare, should declare? Right, and no public forum requests have been presented. Confirmation of the minutes. Moved Councillor Wilson. Seconded Councillor Noon, that the minutes are taken as a true and accurate record. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Right. There are no outstanding actions for our subcommittee and there are no matters for decision. So the matters for noting, our safety and wellbeing report. Any comments, any questions?
A bit of a question, it's probably for Sarah, and it's just around the comment about wellbeing.
Yes.
And there was some interventions that were dealt with individually. I think you provided some. Sorry, I haven't got the page number in front of me, but you provided some guidance about and saying that in terms of wellbeing, you provide some tools for people to self-help.
Yes.
And I just wondered, how do you ensure that actually happens? So is there some measurable mechanism further down the track so that the self-help has occurred? That's my question.
So, as mentioned in paragraph 16 of the report, we have a number of initiatives to support employee resilience and wellbeing, and in fact this week is Mental Health Awareness Week, and as a part of that we had an all-staff Zoom on Monday, and we have released our wellbeing framework, which considers staff wellbeing in terms of, four components. So mental health, physical health, financial health, and also community health, which covers cultural health and spirituality and those sorts of things. And in fact, we have a number of tools inside of the organisation that support employee resilience and wellbeing. Some of those are self-help strategies. Agile work is one of those, where people can elect to spend time working from other places other than the office, if that is helpful to them. Also, we have our employee assistance program. And in terms of our employee assistance program, it's confidential, so we don't know who accesses that program, and we don't know about the specific case, although a lot of the time there will have been discussions with supervisors that will prompt the recommendation of using the program, which then means that people will take that up. So we have a number of other measures in place, but they're generally tailored to the specific circumstance, and we work with Nicole and her team when those situations arise. In terms of resolution, it's not necessarily that matters are resolved, but often they're just better managed. But of course, where we as an employer can have some influence, we will do that. So, consideration of workload, expectation, flexibility about working arrangements, those sorts of things. So we do make sure that staff have options when they have challenges in terms of wellbeing.
Thanks for that, Sarah, because we're reminded that the organisation is under a lot of pressure in terms of delivering policies. When you talk of the freshwater space, for example, so we've got timeframes to meet. So the question was around just, I suppose, ensuring that we had at the forefront of our minds, and obviously you've reminded us that it's certainly at the forefront of your mind as the employer, that the well-being of our staff is of utmost importance. So thanks for that.
Andrew. Mr. Douglas.
Yeah, so just to say it was a really good report to read, an update to read. See a lot of sort of progress has been made across a number of areas, including updating policies and procedures. And you've sort of got a few there that you are updating. I think always sort of, when I think about that area, especially they're being revised and updated, I sort of think how all the staff know about them and how that information sort of get out to people. So we're quite keen to hear that.
Yep. So with our Health and Safety Committee, our Health and Safety reps are the members that have been elected by their peers essentially to represent health and safety matters in their work group. So we worked with them, or I worked with them earlier in the year to set up a consultation process and engagement process. And essentially, once we do have a new policy procedure, with the systems of work around that drafted up, we first of all go through our Health and Safety Committee to consult with them, get their feedback. We then do post it on our corporate intranet page for any staff member to provide feedback within a certain time frame. And then we obviously review that feedback, make any particular changes to it. And then we take it to the executive leadership team. Although we are working on looking at some improvements to developing a policy review committee, which will just help streamline that process. It's probably one of the reasons that there's a lot of stuff in progress and hasn't actually been finalised, because we've had quite a few things we've put out there, for example, fatigue management and managing lone workers, where we've needed to go back to the drawing board and actually really think about, based on feedback from our workers and from our health and safety reps, that we need to do a bit more work around making sure this is actually going to work operationally, because the last thing we want to do is put something up on our intranet and no one actually understands it or follows it. So there is definitely quite a comprehensive consultation process in place. When we get to the final stage of a policy procedure being rolled out, we've got a number of different communication pathways, our corporate intranet, we have news and various events that we can post. We've got company newsletters, and we all, Gina and myself, my colleague, also run info sessions, which can be via Zoom or face-to-face, where we will go through and sort of provide that training. Yeah, and that's dependent on the nature of the policy. If it's just related to a particular group of workers, field workers, for example, we might just go through them, or if it's organisation-wide, we would obviously go out to the wider group. So.
Right, pausing here for a moment, and very remiss of me. Would you two like to introduce yourselves?
Oh, yes.
And then I will ask our visitors to introduce themselves, and I apologise profusely for not doing that at the beginning of the meeting.
It's okay. So I'm Rebecca Webster, I'm the Safety and Wellbeing Partner.
I'm Nicole Ross, I'm the Manager of People and Safety.
I'm Hayley Ratyoki, I'm the Appointed Auditor for Otago Regional.
And I'm Scott Hawkins, the Audit Manager, working with Hayley.
Right.
Got me today?
Yes, I was
I'm
looking at you, and then you were looking like
manager.
you weren't. Yeah.
Oh, so I'm Sarah Munro, I'm the Finance Manager for Expenditure and Reporting.
And we've got Nick Donnelly.
Nick Donnelly, I'm the GM of Corporate Services.
Right. My apologies again for that. That should have been at the beginning. Not that any of you are any less important for that, it's my lack. Right, any other questions about this report?
I just wanted to note it was good to see the number of incidents and near misses that have taken place over the last year and what those were categorised as. And I believe I was hopefully thinking correctly, areas like vehicle near misses and incidents from the work we're doing in staff training and policy development. So I just want to note that was really good to see you're focusing on some of those high risk areas. Yeah. Just to see that linking as well.
A question from me. Do we have any information about those things relating to the public transport system? I know we contracted out, but what relationship do we have with any of that with the buses that we contract?
We don't currently have, there hasn't been any recent reported incidents. I would understand that they would probably have their own reporting system, to be honest with you. So we don't record their incidents. They would manage their own incidents, yes.
It's probably our transport team who would at times be made aware of specific things rather than health and safety.
So that's perhaps something for us to think about whether we just ever want to see something back from them, just to focus in on that, because that could well be, people think they're us and they're...
On that point, are you saying that we could be,
SCBU?
Are you thinking at times we could be considered all?
I'm just thinking exactly where we sit there, and a proactive and diligent thing would be to insert ourselves in there somewhere.
Well, that's a very good point. If we are ultimately responsible, then we need to have some oversight of the health and safety of that area.
Yeah, and I believe we do, but as I said, it's through our transport team, not through their staff. So I just don't think that we had the right people here today to be able to answer the question.
So perhaps that's something we put in as a note in the back of our mind as to where exactly it appropriately comes in. Any other questions? Any other comments?
Happy to move the recommendation that we receive the report, Madam Chair.
Right. And you're seconding it, Councillor Wilson? All those in favour?
Aye.
All those against? Carried. Right. There's a resolution now to exclude the public. So, moved by Councillor Wilson for the reasons set out, seconded by Councillor Malcolm. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. On the contrary, no. Carried. I close the